Hey folks, welcome back to My Kitten Reads. I'm Eleanor and this is a book haul for January 2018. It's actually going to be half a library haul, which is really good. So please ignore my slightly puffy face and my bruises because I'm still recovering from wisdom tooth surgery. I'm going back to work tomorrow though, so I'm probably well enough to do a video. The first things I will talk about for the book haul, which are the 3 books that I received in various boxes, subscription boxes over January. 2 of them are actually the same book but different editions. But yeah, you can see those in the unboxings that I've posted. So those were those 3, but technically it's only 2, so that's good. So the first thing I actually bought isn't actually going on my TBR, which is really good. And that is this. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice in this absolutely beautiful black and gold edition. It was my birthday in January, and so between the credit I built up on my Dimex card and birthday money, I splurged and bought myself this because, you know, although I don't really need another edition of Pride and Prejudice, I've been eyeing it off for like over a year. It's so pretty. And I really love it, so I thought, you know, for my birthday I could splurge because it wasn't actually going to cost me anything and it's not going to go on my TBR. So there's that. I did buy one ebook in January, and that was Out of Obscurity by Jan Rowland. This is the most recent Jan Rowland Pride and Prejudice variation. This is one that was published in December, and so yeah, I really love my Pride and Prejudice variations. And this particular one involves Elizabeth Bennet meeting Mr. Darcy, and Mr. Darcy suddenly realising that she looks familiar, and he thinks he's related to her, and shenanigans ensue. So I really, yeah. So that was my latest Jan Rowland, because I read a lot of Jan Rowland ebooks. So yes, and then the one other physical book that I bought myself in January was this. I pre-ordered it, so it was delivered to my doorstep, and that is Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This is the 3rd in the Miss Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children series of novellas from Tor.com. You know how much I love that series. This is the 3rd book, but it's the direct sequel to the first book, Every Heart a Doorway. And so I won't say too much about it. There's a new protagonist, although there are sections that are from the perspective of one of our previous characters. So there's technically 2 protagonists, but there's new protagonist Cora, and this is sort of a quest, even though quests aren't supposed to happen outside of worlds. So yeah, it's a really, I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil the other books for you, but that's Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. And then I went to my library and I actually pulled some books off the shelves. Books that were, I've put some on hold as well, but in particular the last weekend I actually went to my local library and grabbed some stuff off the shelves that were on my sort of want to read list on Goodreads. So I picked up a few of those. The first one I picked up from the library was Bendy Home by Nnedi Okorafor. This is the 2nd novella in the Binti series by Nnedi Okorafor. The Binti series is about a girl called Binti. She's a Himba woman from Earth, and in the first book she breaks every rule of her people and gets accepted as the first woman and the first Himba person to get accepted to the Umza University on another planet. And so she leaves without permission, and the first story is her journey to the university and the adventures that happen on that journey. And this is the 2nd book, Bendy Home, which is Bendy has been at the university for a year and she's now returning home, but she's not the same person she was as she left. And does she still fit with her people, with the Himba people? So yeah, that's Bendy Home by Nnedi Okorafor. I also picked up Fairy Tales for Wild Girls, a novel by Alice Nia. I don't know a great deal about this book, but it's sort of a bit of a fairy tale retelling, but sort of dark as far as I know. On the back it says, there's a dead girl in a birdcage in the woods. That's not unusual. Isola Wilde sees a lot of things other people don't, but when the girl appears at Isola's window, her every word a threat, Isola needs help. Her real-life friends, Grape, James, and new boy Edgar, make her forget for a while, and her brother princes, magical creatures seemingly lifted from the pages of the French fairy tales Isola idolizes, will protect her with all the fierce love they possess. It may not be enough. Isola needs to uncover the truth behind the dead girl's demise, before the ghost steals Isola's last breath. So this is an Australian author. I think it's a debut novel, but it's sort of fairy tale-ish, which, you know, I really love my fairy tales. So it's a YA novel, and I'm looking forward to picking that up. I also grabbed from the library Iona Cast by Destiny Soraya, which is also on my Goodreads want to read list. And again, I don't know a great deal about it, but it's set in 1919 in America, in Boston. It involves magic that is used to weave illusions, and a nightclub, and two girls who weave illusions in the nightclub and then run con jobs during the day. And then one of them is imprisoned and needs help from the other one, and various shenanigans ensue. So 1919, 1920s flapper, but with magic. So a bit of a historical fantasy novel, which looks really cool. And then the final book I grabbed from the library was Eat the Sky, Drink the Ocean, edited by Kirsty Murray, Paya Dar, and Anita Roy. This is a YA collection of short stories and graphic stories, so some of them are actually comics, written by, I'm pretty sure, all women, but half of the writers are from India and half of them are from Australia, and so the idea was try and get a bunch of stories that are kind of science fiction and fantasy and all that kind of stuff that look at girls and what girls have to deal with both in India and in Australia and sort of across the ocean, and what girls can achieve. So yeah, basically that's a little collection of YA short stories, which is really, really awesome. So yeah, that was my January book haul. I'm really pleased that I used the library a lot and I didn't actually buy too much. Yeah, so I probably acquired, maybe I think I did actually acquire less than I read, because I read 9 books in January. So that I'll talk about later in my January wrap up. But I should probably stop talking because my jaw's getting a little bit sore. I will see you all again really soon. Bye.